Hello, I'm William Gallagher, and this is the 58 Keys Writing Workshop series of videos. So a video where I talk to you about how I happen to write something, and then you, please, disagree with me in the comments below. It's how we have a chat, isn't it? This time, very specifically, descriptions, but in scripts. When you're writing a screenplay, how you describe something. Now, I'm not going to, try to be didactic about this. It's your script, write it any way you like. But there are certain things to keep in mind, and I think there are certain pitfalls that I certainly see when things are sent to me, particularly by new script writers. In fact, actually, story just popped into my head. It's mostly relevant. Let's go with this. I once worked with somebody who had just got, what would it be in the UK? Is it a BA, Bachelor of Arts in Script Writing, an MSc? That's a cruise ship, isn't it? Some university qualification, some academic qualification in script writing, and she handed me a copy of her, it's not winning, is it? The script that got her this qualification, and asked me to read it. And I was very flattered that she would ask. Didn't need anything from me, so that made it even easier. I could just enjoy it. Opened it up, page 1, line 1. Oh. Honestly, it was all I could do to not hand the script straight back from line 1. You might be amused to know that I never had to read the script because a week later she was fired for something. That's another story, and possibly not one to go into ever. The problem with line 1 is screenplays, right? You know that a screenplay has less description than a novel. A novel can go on and on for as long as you like and as long as your readers can bear, but a script cannot. A script is a blueprint for the making of a film or a show, whatever it is, and it has to be quick and precise. The descriptions of locations are a tool. Right? The location manager, if your budget allows one, has to use that to find what you need. Somebody in the budget department is going through working out how many locations are actually outside, exterior locations, how many are inside, therefore, how many crew trucks will you need, how much studio space will you need. They are doing a job, but we're writers. We have to care about that in screenplays, but we're also doing something else. We are conveying what we need people to think. So the location crew, are they looking for a big house, a small house? The studio people, can we get away with no studio at all? Does it have to be do there have to be particular facilities for special effects in there or something? Do we need green screens? You need the practical information, but also, I think above everything else, you're conveying tone and character. Directors direct and they do a certain job, and I think when they do it well, it's just incredible. And everybody brings their skills to it, and their job is to interpret your script. Your job as a writer is to give them what they need to do their job. But I think also, because this is our story we're trying to tell, guide them along the way you want. So persuade them to do the things you need. And you do that through the characters, through the dialogue, yes, but also through the description. Description comes in 2 parts. One is description. The house is small, kind of thing. Okay. I wrote somewhere about how the house was small but well kept. And I thought that actually told you about the character that we then saw. We realised that was the character who kept it well and things like that. Small, tiny touches. Or how about this? Let's combine things. The other thing in screenplay descriptions is the scene slug, the scene heading. So this is actually what went wrong for me with that one I read from the colleague. All scripts, all scenes begin with interior or exterior. You can add int ext. You can try other things. But interior or exterior, int or ext, then very short where that place is, then a dash, and then when it is. There's a so-called EastEnders in the UK, which doesn't just say day or night, it says 13:16, 13:17. It gives very precise times, and it's needed for all sorts of reasons. But day and night is the usual thing. Evening, dawn, dusk. If your story is going to be set over several days, you might say day 1, day 3, and that does a job for like the costumer and things like this. Okay. Let me give you an example of a combination of these, like a scene heading and a description. Exterior, high street, day. This is the bad version. who's my leading character? Susan Hare. Susan Hare is walking down the street. Close up of Susan looking in windows. Close up, Susan dodging lots of people with prams and things. It's a busy kind of street. Susan, medium shot, stops outside a travel agent's window. Close up shot, travel agent window. Medium shot, Susan enters. Yeah, I'm bored even saying this to you. Let's do it the right way. Exterior, high street day. Susan Hare is walking down a busy street, sees a travel agent. That's it. I guarantee that you have already put in your head, put in the director's head, every shot that I just described to you laboriously with close up, medium close up, long shot, all of this stuff. I didn't say panning left to right because I think panning is a word of also another way to criticize things, isn't it? But when I read a script that says close up, MCU, panning, all of this stuff, I think that writer wants to be a director. And why not? Good luck to you. Off you pop. I'm reading a script. I'm not directing it. Let's try to convey the mood and the atmosphere, and just that. Character walks down the high street, sees travel agents, busy day. I think I put that in there as well. That's all I need. And that's the key thing. It's what do we need? You and I, as writers, do not need to specify the shots for it. We need to convey the action we want. We need to put in the head of the director and everyone else what it is we want to see. And the last part, that thing of where she goes in, there is no possibility, none, that you read she stops outside, that you know the next shot will not be interior travel agents enter Susan Hare. It's got to be, so don't bother saying it. Keep it to an absolute minimum. And if you want another example of why you should do this, actors. I could talk a lot about actors because I think when they do it well, it's just, I mean, it's beyond incredible what actors do. But what they don't do can be quite irritating. And it's this, unbelievably to me, actors don't read scripts. They look for their lines. I mean, I know I'm not talking about every actor, and I can think of ones immediately that I know that are friends that do this. But then you see interviews with people. The famous one, I think, is from Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. And I'm sorry, I've blanked on the name of the lead actress in it. I mean, what a brave woman. There's a scene where she has to stick her hand into this hole with insects crawling all over and all this stuff. And she did it. And then later on in the shoot, she comes to another scene and finds out she's got to do something really similar. How did she not know? Because she didn't read the script for it. I don't know. I spoke to an actor once, James Bolam, is very famous here in the UK. I was interviewing for a book, and he told me, yeah, he tends to not read descriptions. He looks for the dialogue and what he has to say and fathoms out from the story how he should deliver it. But the reason he was telling me this was that there was actually an outlier. There was a change for it. There was one writer whose descriptions he always read, and they were Alan Plater's, the late Alan Plater, who's a friend of mine as well. That's why I was interviewing James Bellum. He said Alan Plater's stage directions were always funny. I mean, and I've read thousands of these. Yes, they're funny, but it's not in there are loads of jokes. It's just the tone is gently amusing. And what's deeply important about that is what Alan wanted the show to be. He was telling you how to shape the story in the way he wanted, and he was doing it without MCU, without panning, all this stuff. He was guiding you for it, and I think absolutely brilliantly. That's what I kind of aspire to in this. I mean, I've directed stage. I'd be interested to try directing film sometime. But when I'm writing it, I'm writing it. And I'm writing it for other people who are obviously better than me to do what they need to do. I just would like them, please, to do it the way I see it in my head, I think. One of the actors I was thinking of when I said about good actors is an actor called John Dorney, he's an actor and a writer. And he was in my first ever, I did Doctor Who radio dramas for BBC Big Finish. BBC and Big Finish for it, and he totally changed my opinion of a character, and he was right. Same words, delivered in the same way, but he made him a Cockney instead of whatever it was I had in my head. That's how much he replaced my idea of my own character, and he was right. I loved that. He's also a great writer, which helps. Anyway, that's it for this 58 Keys writing workshop about stage directions in screenplays. I think, actually, maybe I'm wrong here, but I use this same approach in prose as well. I'm quite sparse with description, but I could well be wrong there. Is there a right and a wrong? I don't know, but maybe you do, and you can tell me in the comments below. Remember, this is you and me, two writers, having a chat. So while I wait for the comments below, thank you very much for watching this. Now take care of yourself. Write more. With descriptions or not, screenplays are up to you, but write more. It's important. And I'll see you soon.